So we started over with the challenges. So we started with some of the physical spaces. So we're thinking, are those spaces safe? Do we feel safe going into them? So we started discovering some of those. And then we looked at something that some of the activities that we need to do, sometimes they cost a lot of money. Where does that money come from? Who owns that money? Hayley, we talked about trust. What was the trust one? Just about, there was a little bit of a reluctance to it, wasn't there, about whether people in the communities would buy into actually the activity we're looking to do and the change and the hope we're looking to present. Would people actually buy into that and trust that those activities were going to bear some fruit and positivity? We thought that resources can be quite scarce, even though you've got wonderful facilities like this. You need that community to support those people to really drive it, and how can we bring people kind of together? Have I missed anything?
Hayley is one chatterbox, which is in her own little space of company, as you're all shy of us. But by the way, the point is well made, and by the way, having this type of interaction, that's what I used to have, always nudging me along and encouraging me. But this is still the most unnerving experience, I'm sure we all have it, speaking to an audience.
Hayley, I've been saying that one as well. The group.
No, she's right in the group as well, trust me. You space.
Yeah, Hayley actually brought up the next one about longevity actually, because she was saying that a lot of interactions, a lot of opportunities are really short term, but what does it mean for the long term? How is it going to create that long term thinking? So that was out there. And also, we spoke about a little bit around, and Hayley articulated this brilliant well, around the fear of stereotypes, that actually when people look at her and some of her colleagues and some of her friends, it's usually driven by negative stereotypes, the negativity around young people. So that creates doubt. That creates doubt from us all. So I thought that was really interesting. Positives.
Yeah. So the positives, we thought about potential investment. So like there's a lot of groups that if you walk down the road, like you can see a lot of people promoting and everything, trying to actually get people to join and everything. So that's good.
Regeneration. I was sharing with Hayley, this place didn't look like this 15 years ago when I used to come over and kick a ball. So the potential of the investment that's coming in and the people that wanting to be here.
The population size, like if you go to any borough, like everywhere is just overrun no matter how far you go. Even walking here today, you're just walking through Stratford, I think I see about 1 million people. So like, even when there is spaces open, it gets filled up really quickly and everything, and then people have to shut doors and say, sorry, like you can't because there's not enough. Like there is spaces and stuff, but there isn't. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Is Westfield seen as the new youth centre for young people?
I don't know, I've only been there 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, I'm not allowed that much.
Oh, I'm told that Westfield is the youth space for young people in East London and for wider London, and that's where a number of issues have resulted.
Yeah.
And yes, please.
They have got a youth centre in.
Yeah, in Stratford, the old Stratford.
It's not as big as it's fine. Okay, they have got one in where the McDonald's old Stratford is. There's a youth centre there, and they have like 80 young people go there. I don't know how many times a week, because the Outreach spoke to me about it. But still, there's no police around, or there's always fighting over there.
By the way, there's always police around. I've got to ask the question. I always talk about never seeing enough police, but young people say, listen, the police are everywhere, they've been waiting for it. Where's the balance? Because safety is still something, I don't know how many parents are here, but I've had the anxieties of sending my young out when they were going out and just wondering if they come back.
Yeah.
Is that a real issue? By the way, Westfield have invested, I think they invested up to £8 to £12 million into the Foundation for Future London. And the Foundation for Future London in turn invests or grants money out to community organisations. Yeah. There is a bit of a miscommunication, but I've equally walked in Westfield during the half-term or holiday breaks and at weekends, and I see young people stopped and there's an issue. The stewards or the staff don't use the right language, and it just creates the tension. The other shopkeepers avoid it like a nuclear exclusion zone, and then you're wondering what will happen next. But there is a massive issue about how this whole engagement goes beyond Westfield onto the park. Do you know that there's a growth hub for young people and apprenticeships on the park? Are you aware that there's a value sports project that's predominantly for young people in the park? There's lots of things that aren't known that we need to communicate better, but I think the whole language and notion of presence is an important one.
Yeah, no, I was just going to, I can't speak much because I don't knew that well in terms of what's on for the people. However, for me, it feels that, obviously Europe is one of the youngest population in the country, if not the youngest still. And my criticism is that, what is it that government and local businesses are doing to cater for the young people, but so essentially it's that it's a little bit of a, I think there should be a bit more going on, a bit more clarity in terms of what's on offer, because there's a few more things that gathering from our discussion, there's a lot more things happening or programs for young people than what we know. It's just not known well enough.
I underscore your contribution.
I
to the.
think that's an excellent point, because I think that leads on to our last couple here around there's actually a lot of diversity, and it's how we kind of can unlock that, and also about sharing. How you come up with another good point around there is quite a lot of things happening, but how do we share that? How do we get communication? How do we bring it together? One example, Dana shared with us that one of the Met's values is empathy. Now, who would have known that? I certainly didn't know it. So I think if we did know that a little bit more, I mean, Haley's face, like George. So I think that just helps with that contribution. Do you want to go on to what we think we can do?
So I feel like as you said, having a lot of empathy and patience with people, because you never know what anyone's going through. You could just have
Exactly, so we have to teach. We have to teach new police officers.
Yeah,
You have to be empathetic, be emotionally aware.
And obviously, I feel like if you're more aware of people's their states, what they're going through, and everything, it's just more general for better communication, for everyone within the community. That's another one. Building community, so just in general, building trust and everything with each other, coming together. You need to. Everyone needs to have a lot of commitment, because a lot of people they'll try, and then just give up. But I feel like people need to try just until they succeed, because otherwise it's everything you work for is kind of for nothing. Showcasing activities, and with this we need different case studies for evidence and stuff to support the commitment and that. I feel like a lot of feedback from young people and people within the borough, any borough, would be really useful, because at the end of the day, especially if we're doing stuff for young people, we need the young people to tell us what they want to be doing. Otherwise, they're not going to want to engage. They're not going to want to feel a passion towards it. They're not.
Brilliant. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much. And just something that I always dip into the mix. There is a London Legacy Youth Board that is now the Elevate Youth Board, that are elected as part of a recruitment process and do feed into the London Legacy Development Corporation, which are responsible for the regeneration of the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. Everything you see around you comes through that forum, and we do have in Gabrielle Ackley, she could be here today, she is actually a full-blown board member. She sits with equal status as myself, and the issues of young people are not only represented by her. I'm a sponsor to that subcommittee and have helped support it over a number of years. There is also a London Youth Games 33, and that is a youth forum that again is designed and established to give a youth voice. But the one that's becoming clear to me is communication is something that has got to be worked out a lot more collectively in its commitment. We'll go on to that later. I don't want to spoil actually learning group threes.